that's about me. And so we're going to use a bunch of web tools in our class. This way, you guys don't have to install anything on your computer or anything like that. This because writing code, you can't really just do this on a notebook. You have to be able to interact with the program and write it and be able to visualize it. So one thing we use is a Python compiler. So, and how you would do this is there's a bunch of free ones online. So you go to your browser, you type in like free online Python compiler or anything of that sort, and they can choose one of the links. And you guys can obviously just copy and paste what you write into like a journal or like a Google Doc to save it for the future. So the one specific one that I use is program is. So for example, ooh, click on this one. Hold up. Let me do it this way. Ms. Python compiler. It will look like something like this. And then you can write your code on the left side, click run, which will take a while. And then the output of your code will be on the right. So that's just what I use. You guys can follow along using that as well. And so this sort of slideshow I'm going off is called Pairdeck. So for the students here, I would like you guys to please go ahead and join me on Pairdeck. So into your browser, go to joinpd.com, enter a code displayed on the screen, which is this top right here. You see VYSAQM. If you guys could please go and join this. This way, whenever I have like in class assignments, you guys can submit them to me. So I'll give you guys about 5 minutes to join in and let me know and unmute or type in the chat if you guys have any questions. Do you guys have any questions or anything like that? Like how to get there or like what link to click, where to put in the code or anything like that? Or are you guys good? Is everybody there or do they need any help? Can I get like any sort of confirmation? Raise your hand, interact with Zoom, type in the chat, unmute maybe. Okay, great. So we're going to move on ahead, and then at all times, the code is still going to be in the top right-hand side. So those of you who are still need to join, etc., you guys can always come in. Okay, can I ask you guys if you guys have any like programming experience, any background, like what sort of like experience do you have with programming? If you guys could just type that into the chat as well. You guys have any programming experience? It's okay if you guys don't have any. This is supposed to be like an intro course. Okay, that's fine. So we're gonna move forward. So we have to know a couple of basic things when it comes to programming. So first, what a program is. Computer programs are known as software. You might have heard this around, which these are instructions to the computer. So a very obvious example is google.com that I'm using here as a software. You can tell a computer what to do through programs, and without programs, a computer is just an empty machine. Computers do not understand human languages, so we need computer languages like Python to communicate with them. Programs are written in programming languages. This is common sense. And feel free, guys, at any time to let me know if you guys need me to slow down or re-explain the topic. So here's a couple of programming languages. So the first one, machine language. I'm just going to gloss over this for a bit. It's not as important for you guys to know, but basically, the computer can only read a bunch of zeros and ones. And what happens is our language gets the Python code that we write gets put into machine language, which is a bunch of zeros and ones. You don't have to do this manually, it's just automatically done. And there's a couple intermediate languages that happen. So what we deal with is a high-level language. So high-level languages are English-like, kind of follow basic grammar, and are easy to learn and program. So for example, this line of code right here, area equals to 5 times 5 times 3.1415 is an example of a high-level language or one statement you would write in a high-level language. So what is Python? So Python is a general purpose programming language, which means you can use Python to write code for pretty much any programming task. So some examples of where Python is now being used is in the Google search engine, and NASA projects, and New York Stock Exchange, big Wall Street financial, all that kind of stuff. So a little bit more like specific terminology for Python. Python is something called interpreted, which means that Python code is translated to and executed by an interpreter, one statement at a time. So it's a compiled language. So for instance, one interpreter is this online interpreter that I've showed you guys earlier. If you notice, it's a Python programming online compiler. It interprets the code that we write. And another terminology that is going to be more important later is that Python is object oriented. You don't need to know too much about what this means now or how this affects your programming now, but basically, data in Python are objects created from classes, which is very important to like just maintaining order in your program and developing like more complex software. But for now, we're going to be dealing with more of the basic stuff. So here's a basic program, like a super basic program in Python. So you're going to see here two messages being displayed. Print, welcome to Python. Print, Python is fun. So this one line here is called a statement. And how your program will read this is going to go line by line. So this first line is going to read as print. And then whatever's inside these parentheses and quotation marks is going to be printed out. So welcome to Python is going to be printed out first. And following that, whenever the Python compiler reads the second line, Python is fun is going to be printed out. So for a basic example, here, try the print, and what's being printed here is a try program is pro. I click run again. It's a little slow, but it should run try program is pro. And you can change anything within here. So for instance, if I print my name, Ethan here, it will output Ethan. You guys can pretty much change this to whole sentences like I like apples. And it's just important to remember that anything you want to write out, you use a print statement is what we call this. So here's a couple things that your Python program's gonna have. I've talked about before is the statements. So this one print line right here is a statement. You're gonna have some comments and you're gonna have some indentation. So let's go over a statement. As I said before, the statement, the print is welcome to Python is statement, and it'll print something out to your console. And indentation is important. So in like a normal sense, indentation would be, usually whenever you write your essay, the first line of a paragraph, you usually indent it using like a tab or a couple of spaces. The indentation in Python is extremely important. Remember that computers don't like know what you're thinking. You have to write specifically what the program wants. So I'll show you guys a very simple example of what I mean here. So in this print statement, if I run it again, it works correctly. But if I were to say indent it, like I click a tab, you're going to see if I run this, there's going to be an error. So remember, you guys have to be very, very careful with your indentations. Make sure you guys don't like add unnecessary spaces. If I click a bunch of spaces here, it's also going to generate an error. Make sure you guys are very, very specific with how you write the syntax. Here's a couple of special statements that we're going to leave you guys for the first class. So as you guys know, the parentheses is going to be used with functions. So this first function here is a print function. You guys should memorize the syntax. And you're also going to have a pound sign, which means a comment. So you can see here, this is a comment, and this is also a comment. So if I delete these, the program will run perfectly fine. And comments are going to be useful through like more larger complex programs when you're trying to keep track of what your program wants to do. So for instance, I want to print out my favorite fruit. And it's important to remember that these comments do not affect your code at all. So it doesn't matter what I put after this pound sign. Like if I write, I actually like oranges more, it's still not going to affect the program. You're still going to print out that I like apples. The open and close quotation marks uses to encode a string, which is basically a sequence of characters. So this is a string and it's being printed out to the console. Okay. All right, guys. Now I will hold on. Wait, so, wait, no. Let's yes, this one. Okay. Okay, guys. So I want you guys to, there's going to be a little box. If you go to Pairdeck, there should be a box where you can type some code in there. I want you guys to print out each of the following on a separate line. This is going to be y'all's in-class exercise to get used to printing out statements. And we have a newcomer. So Nicholas, if you're confused, I want you to go to join Pairdeck. So joinpd.com. So you can type in this code in the top right-hand side and you can follow along with what's happening. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you ask me. If you guys are lost, I can always go back and explain. I just put the website and the code into the chat, so you guys, if you guys need that, it's there. I'm gonna check some of these responses here. Let's see. So this first one seems, this first one is good. Good job. This is what it should look like. The second one, you just need to finish typing out the rest of them. And okay, so for the bottom two here, I was meaning to say like you have to use your Python code. So you guys may be newcomers, so let me kind of go back and explain this. So let's go back. So here's, oh, let's go back further, sure here. So this is a statement in Python code. So for instance, if you want to print something out to the console or print something out to the screen, you're going to write print followed by parentheses and quotation marks, welcome to Python. And this is going to print welcome to Python out onto your screen. So that's kind of what I meant. So if I go back in here in this example, I'm going to print my name. Sorry. And if you check the output on the right, it should print out my name as well. So in this exercise, the first one was the name. The second thing I wanted you to print out was your school. So I go to Westbrook High School, click run. This would show like this. Do you guys understand the assignment? Do you guys understand? Like, you guys can go back and fix your responses. Sorry. So you guys can go and try to refix your responses for this one. I'll give you guys some time for that. And yeah, Nadia just joined. Do you understand what's going on? Do you need like if you guys preferably please join the check the chat room and then join the website that I put in there, and then as well as enter the code so you can follow along. Let me know if you guys are like done or need any more help. So you guys can understand what's going on. All right, so I'll check these responses now again. Let's see. Good job. Good job. Good job, guys. I see we're all going in the right direction using these print statements. Some of us just need to finish typing out the problem. And so as long as we understand what a print statement is like and what its function is, this assignment is pretty much complete. You guys, good job on this one. Don't worry too much about finishing this. There's no grades in this class. There's no homework, but you guys can obviously do some optional work if you guys want to. I know I just said there's no homework, but we're actually gonna do this one in class. So I want you guys to try to create something called ASCII art. You guys might have heard of this. It's basically where you use characters on your keyboard to draw. So here, let me show you guys this. Can you guys try to spend a bit to create ASCII art in Python? Okay, so I'm going to check in and see how everybody's doing. This one's pretty cool, so let's see our responses here. This first person, okay, we're getting there. And this fourth responder, remember to use the print statements. Remember, like the assignments, I always want you guys to try to use Python, so print statements. But these two people seem like they've got it. Okay, I'll just give you guys a bit more time to try this. You guys can obviously do your own ASCII art, but the assignment was to try to create this small little, I think it's bunny thing. I'll give you guys a bit more time. Okay, so let me check these responses again. Yes, and it seems like we are on track. So let me close this again and give you guys a bit more time. I'll probably give you guys like 5 or so more minutes to finish this up. One final check. I will one final check. Let's see here. So this first person is mostly good, but remember that it has to be double quotes. So this, unfortunately, this single quote right here was going to cause an error in your program. Although it's not too big of a deal. It's a pretty simple fix. Second person seems it's all good. Third person is all good. Fourth person is to remember to use the print statements, okay? And so I'll kind of demonstrate this, see if I can copy this person's code and run it into the Python compiler. So let me delete all of this, click run. Oop, here you go. Here's the code. Let me space this one over. So there you go. Your Python program should look like this pretty much. I forgot to tell you guys, but actually it's something, the backslash is a weird character, and we're gonna go over this a bit later. But the backslash is a weird character, and so you guys are gonna have to put the double backslash to print out a single backslash. It's just a bit weird, and you guys will learn more about that in a later class. Sorry about that. Let's see here. Yeah. Okay. So just a quick review of everything in the class. So remember here, a print statement, you can enclose literally anything you want, and the print statement just boils down to this. You're going to print out you're going to call a function called print, parentheses, quotation marks, and then anything inside that print quotation marks that you want to type out. Okay. The next, the comments, right? Use the pound sign for the comments. And so this is a comment. Remember that comments do not affect your program at all. And an interesting thing is you can actually have them on the same line as your program. As long as anything falling to the right of this is going to be considered a comment. So if I try to write a print statement to the right of this, there's going to be an error. And if I click run, nothing will happen because this is commented out, okay? There's also other ways to do comments. For instance, Python, if you do 3 asterisks, anything in between these two will become a comment. So hello, this is a comment. This will not affect your program at all. And if I try to put a print statement in between this, this will similarly, oh my goodness, the ads, capitalism, oh no. Okay. If I try to put something else in between there, print, hello, this is a print statement. Let me spell correctly. It's still not gonna occur and nothing's gonna happen, okay? Does that make sense? And then also indentation is important. Let's quickly go over that. So print, this is a print statement. Okay, let's just delete this part. And print. This is also a print statement. But I just mess up the spacing, like tab it over, add a couple extra spaces maybe. It's going to generate an error because this one, remember guys, has to be no extra spaces. And it's just simple that. It should run correctly, and that's pretty good. Okay, so first class is kind of really simple. It's also kind of short. We just went over some basic Python program. You just created your first Python program. I know some people have differing amount of programming experience, but and these following classes, you guys are going to learn to make formulas, take inputs, everything that such. And here are some outside resources you guys can use to learn Python like outside of this summer camp. ChatGPT always works. You can always ask ChatGPT to fix your code or help you teach code, whatnot. There's a bunch of good YouTube tutorials as well. W3 Schools is a good online website. Monkey Type always helps out. For you guys to type faster, it's always good to be able to type really well when you code. And then Code Combat is just like a fun little code game that you can play. And so thanks for showing up.